Murder, torture and poltergeists await the most haunted team on the Isle of Wight.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. Money has always been a motive for murder and inheritance the oldest excuse. And that's the reason why two people were callously killed here in this building, a father and a sister. Their ghosts are said to roam this building along with monks and lost children. And that's why I had to bring you to Arreton Manor.
Few buildings can trace their origins over 12 centuries, but Arreton Manor has existed here since 872 AD, an era when Alfred the Great owned the house. Lying southwest of the island's principal town, Newport, parts of this current construction date as far back as the 14th century. Such is its dense history that this same property was referred to in the Domesday Book of 1086. The dissolution of the monasteries ended a residency that spanned 5 centuries, with Queens Mary and Victoria known to have paid regular visits. But it is for far more illicit reasons that Arreton Manor has gained its supernatural notoriety.
This is my first time on the Isle of Wight. It's reputedly the most haunted island in the world. I think one of the reasons is the fact that there are quite a few ley lines going to Avebury, Stonehenge, passing over or through the island. And the other reason is, of course, we've got a very close-knit community. People have always lived in the same locations, and so the stories have been passed down from father to son, mother to daughter. And here we are in, well, I cannot believe this place. As I drove up and saw this place, it's just the epitome of your haunted manor house.
The sound of a child crying has often been heard here in the entrance hall, and this sturdy door has been known to bolt all on its own. Many people have witnessed the sounds of loud bangs as if someone or something is trying to get in. A young girl called Annabel Lee was killed here. Is it her face that's been seen staring longingly out of this window? Is it her footsteps that have been heard echoing across the floor? And is she responsible for the cupboard doors opening and closing on their own?
This is historically correct, that Barnaby Lee, the owner of the house, was dying, and his eldest son, who was going to inherit, couldn't wait, so he smothered his father in his bedroom. And unfortunately, the 8-year-old daughter, Annabel, saw the brother doing it. He is reputed to have thrown her out of one of the bedroom windows. I believe that that little girl, cut off in her prime, doesn't know she's dead. Perhaps she needs our help. It'd be very interesting if we actually contact her later on in one of the seances tonight.
The image of a large black dog has been seen running around the dining room. This also used to be a courtroom. Keys have also been heard falling on the floor without any logical explanation. And the apparitions of a group of monks have also been seen floating across the floor. But they're not just seen in here. This is the oldest part of the house, as it used to be the monks' room. And many people say that they're still here, as they've seen monks kneeling and praying. Along with the sounds of children crying, I can imagine that this place in the middle of the night is going to be frightening.
Parapsychologist Louis Sava has also joined us on this haunted isle. Rumour and folklore often links Arreton with gory tales of murder and bloodshed, preconceptions that he is keen for us all to ignore.
Historically, there was a murder here, and people are actually seeing the image of the murder victim, a young girl, at the window. Surely it can't be coincidence.
I mean, the thing that comes to my mind is that this is a very small island, and obviously the murder would have been quite an event in the island. And so I can imagine that people told stories of this, and people are expecting maybe to see a ghost of this murdered person. So in my mind, I feel it might be a bit of a historical tale that's being told and passed along. I mean, people may well be seeing a face at the window, but it might not necessarily be the ghost of this particular girl. But yeah, surely it's interesting.
Why do you think a lot of people do, especially Most Haunted, do investigations in the dark? What's your theory on that? Because obviously people are seeing ghosts and apparitions in the daytime.
Sure. I mean, if you look at the case collections, actually daytime apparitions are much less common. So I think the nighttime environment, which is unusual for human beings, because human beings do find it scary to be in the dark. We do experiments in the dark. If you put people into a dark room, they will see things, they will have visual experiences. Even in a laboratory, we do that as parapsychologists. We put people into dark environments and they will report seeing apparitions in a lab.
So do you think it's all up here then?
Well, I think, you don't want to say that there aren't real experiences. People aren't necessarily seeing real things, but I do think that a lot of the apparitions we're dealing with will be brain-based, yeah.
So, hallucinations or hauntings? What can we expect from the Isle of Wight? With spiritualist mediums Derek Okora and David Wells having joined us on the island, we could start to unearth the many mysteries that are said to still remain at Arreton Manor.
I'm picking up both a female and a male. They're both definitely not connected together. I feel the male would be going back a lot longer in time than the female. Mm-hmm. And this female, all I can say when I'm picking up, I get this, like, she's not petite. She's not of, like, small build. She'd be a big one, this. Mm. Excuse the word, a big one, but like a big, robust, broad-hipped sort of woman, and tall for a woman. Gosh, she'd be nearly as tall as me. And, if you got in her way, she'd push you out the way. But I feel a gentle soul, not a negative woman. Yeah. A gentle soul. And I don't know what this means, but I get the Hague. The Hague. Something to do with the name The Hague. Right. And that's her memory.
What about the man that you picked up on?
Can we go through into that energy, into that room, please? He's a gaunt-looking man, this. He's taller than me. He's narrow of shoulders. And he's very gaunt-looking when he was in the physical body. He lost his life. It wasn't a natural way. It wasn't a natural way. Can you help me with this, Sam, please? Edward Bryan. Bryant? It's Edward very clearly. Either Brian or Bryant. Brian. Edward Bryan. And he comes back because he's confused of the manner in which the way he left his physical body, in other words, as he would classify it, died.
So who killed him then?
I know. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Sam. Right, the ones who came and took his life, there was two of them, and it was on a carriage, horse carriage, and they pulled up in the carriage. One made entrance into the front of this building. He confronted him, and they knocked him down unconscious and took him away.
Tales of vendettas and possible kidnapping, plus a kindly lady who held this house close to her heart. Could we discover more of the female that Derek felt was linked to The Hague?
Her energies, okay, are here. This belongs to her. In her heart, in her mind, she loves being here as well. Maybe even more so than up there. Amy, A-M-I, Technook.
Okay.
I feel Amy was at one point one of the heads of a family that were here, and they were people of standing, high standing, and I feel the only thing that angers her is, can I be blunt about this? There is an area in this home, in this building, where blood and nastiness and torture and everything went on.
So where is this area then that this is?
It's lower area,
Right.
lower down.
The trail of bloodshed still appears to be prevalent the further down through the building that we travel. So just how intense would this torture be as we hit rock bottom in the cellar?
As we come into this energy, this area, this is an area which the good lady Amy doesn't really relate to, and she's not seeing it as it's looking now. She sees the barbaric conditions which were meted out to certain souls in this area at this level, going way back in time. I feel from up above screaming, crying souls, knowing that they're being dragged down to this level to meet their end. In other words, what was awaiting them down here after some kind, I wouldn't say court of justice, but a justice of man meting out justice, bringing them down here, dragging them down here, screaming out for mercy, and then just butchering them.
Cellars are often known to hold far from pleasant auras, but Derek feels sure that this room contains far worse. But how much more could Arreton offer? Our night of fright would soon be underway. Arreton Manor, steeped in over 12 centuries of history. But how much of its past would this supposedly sedate island rather forget? Derek's sensing of both male and female figures has now been dramatically overshadowed by his belief that several layers of this home have witnessed torturous murder. Leaving a scene of gruesome gore, we head out of the cellar and back up to the ground floor in the hope of light relief.
As I come into this room, it's like, just as a gesture, a person and persons who would come in here would want this door closed, so to speak, and it's like people, individuals, being brought like this, attended either side. I don't know how I can describe it, like prisoner, a prisoner, and someone sitting and listening to what was said about this person, and then deciding the fate of the person. Now,
So it's like a courtroom.
but it's not a courtroom, really. It's an unjust courtroom, because it was like, there was no way that the person who was brought was going to get proper justice.
Right.
And a lot of them like that were taken from this room, screaming for mercy. They didn't get mercy of.
No.
A lot of them had their heads, they were decapitated.
And those people, you think, haunt here?
A lot of them
Yeah.
do. The sounds from them.
Right.
Because I
Only
mean,
in
they're
that
not-
level down there?
Yes.
Right.
They're unsettled souls. That's why Amy doesn't like that.
Right.
Because mostly the spirit energies in this home, in this manor, are, you know, benevolent. And kindred.
Good
and
people.
good souls. So there is a great deal of warmth. There's only one section, really. This is tinged with not proper justice.
Yeah.
And that most definitely is part of the barbarism
Okay.
that was caused here.
Right.
Arreton is fast becoming a home that abounds with misdeeds from its long and supposedly illustrious history. This reverend past is reflected by one particular tale. One of its ancient floors is said to still bear the indentations of kneeling, a sign of the daily worship that is likely to have taken place here. And with our cameras now in night vision, it was time for David Wells to read this antiquated house.
There's the noise of monks chanting. No, that's not what would have happened here. That's a prompt for me. This is how one of the ways that I see and hear. And actually, I'm not hearing monks wouldn't have been singing much here. It's more, I think monks were here, but it's it seems much more restrained, much more of a restrained order. I'm not big on monks' orders, and I can't get what it is, but they seem more restrained. They're not silent, though. They're not silent. I'm aware of just one monk who may be seen here as a shadow, just a fleeting shadow. And I think what people may experience when they see him is actually a feeling of calm, of kind of like, well, I know you're here.
Someone's really touched me twice
What?
on my left arm. Shit.
You all right?
Yeah.
What, grabbed you?
No, prodded me twice up there on my arm twice like that. I mean, once it happened and I thought, come off it, and then it's done it again.
With Richard a few yards from anyone else, what had caused him to react this way? An unconscious physical reaction or an invisible physical connection? Moving upstairs, further questions weren't far away.
There's a little girl in here. Now she's wearing a bonnet, little white bonnet. And she's wearing a white shift, you know, like a white nightgown, I guess. She's barefoot. And I'm just going to try and calm her down a bit because she's a bit excitable. She's kind of dancing around. You know, like a little girl would dance around going, singing. You know,
is she?
You know, she's like singing and she's certainly under 10.
Okay.
You know, she's hang on, oh, okay. She just put a nasty image in my head. And what it is, it was her face, but her head was twisted to the side and bruised around her neck, and her body was crumpled. Her body was...
What?
Shit!
What's the matter?
Somebody just touched my hand.
Another one.
An icy cold.
Just you saw me just look round. Someone was stood right next to me when I looked round.
A tiny little icy cold. It like trying to grab hold of my finger.
Well, what did you see, John?
I just someone was stood right here, and I looked round and Carl wasn't there. He was there before, but he'd moved round.
What, tall? Like
No, not tall. Elbow height.
Little girl.
the little girl?
Annabelle.
Annabelle?
I'm sorry if that was her. Can you just apologise?
Yeah,
I didn't mean to
okay.
insult
You
her.
picked up the name of Annabelle.
I think Annabelle's she's not worried about your reaction. She thinks it's funny.
Ask her to do some more.
Annabelle, could you do something more to one of my friends? Maybe touch them, play with us a little bit? Let's hear you dance around.
What was that?
What was that?
I heard that.
Annabelle, if that was you, could you do that noise again?
Wow, that's brilliant, Annabelle.
Annabelle, if that was you, could you do that noise again? Annabelle, if that was you, could you do that noise again? Annabelle, were you murdered here?
Yes.
Yes. Annabelle, I think you were unfortunately strangled here, is that right?
Yeah.
That's faint.
What's faint?
I know it's disturbing for you.
Ask, does she like us being here? To knock twice if she can.
Annabelle, if you like us being here, could you knock again, but this time maybe knock twice?
Wow.
And again.
Amazing. That felt like it came from behind me.
Thank you. And again.
I think that came from behind me.
Well, I see how to put it over there.
No, I located it by Carl.
There you are, again. And again.
It appeared that we were now surrounded by both auditory and physical phenomena. Surely so many people hadn't imagined so much activity. So was this Annabelle, the tragic young figure who met such a cold and callous end? David headed higher in search of an answer.
You know, I immediately feel sick in this room, physically sick.
You do?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I have to get to the bottom of it. I immediately feel really sick.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just get a hold on it and I'll see why I feel so sick.
That's you, that.
That was me.
That was you.
Sighing. Sorry.
to you.
So what we're doing here is we're going to do some automatic handwriting and see if David can actually get a communication going with somebody here. And we're in the... Who's that?
It was David breathing out.
No. What?
What? You're joking. I've just seen a hand.
What?
An arm moving round that corner, round the door.
No.
Yes.
What, into the room with
She's
the
on the
armour?
video.
Oh no.
The room with the armour?
Yeah.
In there?
Yeah. Oh God, I saw it. It's plain as day.
Is it a modern looking arm?
No, it was just a shadow, but it was like somebody had done sweep their arm across. I thought it was you when I panned the camera and there was no one there.
Adamant that I had seen an arm nearby, I later checked back on tape, but unfortunately, this incident had passed without being caught on camera. Was it a trick of the light or evidence of something more sinister lurking within the house?
Well, look, in this residual energy here, what keeps on coming back and the playback, and it's just flooding out, is the energies of nastiness, the energies of hate, of people's being, you know, dragged down here, and the last moments of the screaming and the agonies of torture. It's not nice down here. What's that?
I heard that. There's a latch.
There's a latch on a door.
There are no latches on the doors.
Not in that door, there isn't.
There is in that room.
Yeah, there is. And that's the entrance, the old entrance.
There's a door with a latch on it in there.
And the door is bricked up the other side.
Mhm.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you want to go in there? Or are you happy to stay here?
No,
Shall we have a look at what you've got?
I don't think there's much. There's some of it.
What on earth does that say?
What do you think it says, David?
I haven't got a clue.
Mary? Mary W. I-S-T. Wisteth?
Just gonna have a look in this other room, see if... Just want to see if there is a latch on that door.
On later analysis, David's disjointed words did appear to provide the name Mary Wisteth. As to who she is, we may never know.
It's that door there, it's in.
Oh, it's open. It's open.
Yeah, there's nothing behind it though, is there? The door's like jammed.
But isn't a latch that goes click click?
Yeah, it's just brick.
Yeah, but there's no latch that goes
Can you
click
just pull it a
click.
bit, mate, haven't you? There you go. Yeah, it's just brick.
Bricked up.
Thanks, David.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about
I didn't
your
realise
ears.
it makes so much noise. I wanted to make sure it was shut as well in case it opens. I'm going to have to go and kneel on this spot as well. I think I'd like to try that.
Okay.
I don't think I'd like to go away without having done it. Scary, isn't it?
Folklore states that indentations on the monk's room floor to be attributable to daily worship, a religious theory that David is keen to explore.
Listen, I feel calm. I don't feel anything extraordinary. I actually, if I were being 100% honest, I don't think this is where they knelt to pray. I think that's the myth. Let's be honest.
A perplexing start to the night vigils, with equal measures of scepticism and disquiet. Our next move was to send Carl, Stuart, Kath and David to the dining room, where perhaps a séance would move the spirits to action.
Is there anyone here? Is there anyone here that wishes to contact us? Any astral beings? If you hear, maybe tap on this table. Annabelle, if that's you, could you tap again? That was a tap, wasn't it?
That was a tap.
Yes, it
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint. It sounded like coming from at the top first and then on the table.
Yeah,
so
it did.
Yeah, yeah.
Annabelle, could you tap again for me so we can identify where you are? Annabelle, Thank you for your presence. Is there anyone with you? Please tap if there's anyone with you. Annabelle, could you join forces maybe with the other energies here and maybe move the light above our heads? Or maybe the plate on this table. Should we put the plate in the centre of our hands over there? Annabelle, maybe you could make a sound on the plate. Could you try that for me?
It's 50 minutes now, so if we went back and maybe carry on with something else.
Maybe let someone else come in here so that they can. Yeah, okay. It's a bit hard to say open the door into the dark. You first? Yeah.
You alright, Sue?
Yeah. What the hell was that? Hey, is that the plate?
No. Where's the plate? It's not on the table.
It's on the floor.
No. Oh, it's there.
Why did you let this happen?
What's that?
Just grabbed my legs.
Who's grabbed your legs? You alright?
Alright.
What happened? Just explain what happened.
So they just really grabbed my legs.
Was it quite low?
Yeah, it was
So it
there.
could have been Annabelle.
It was there.
Where was it?
It was there.
She seems to be the type that
It
plays
was
like that.
it was a grab. It was, do you know when a kid wraps round the hands round your leg? It was like that.
Oh, like a hug.
Yeah, like it was really strong.
A sudden explosion of activity sharply snapped everyone's senses, with yet another hint of poltergeist phenomena. But had the fall of the plate several feet from anyone else, and then Kath's sensing of something touching her, been the signal that Arreton Manor was full of paranormal intent? Derek, Louis, John Gilbert and myself decided to see if such activity could be encountered on the higher levels.
See the man sitting on the floor. Try and touch him if you can. Make it go icy cold around him so he knows that you're there.
I've got a little bit of a feeling that there's a figure in that doorway. That's why I'm looking a bit scared. That's all.
Shit. I'm sure I just saw it as I turned round. Sure I saw something, but
Are you there?
probably just the lights.
Is there someone watching us?
I feel that there is.
Are you standing in the doorway watching us? Are you inquisitive?
You all right, Derek?
Yes. Do you not understand why we're here? Perhaps we can explain. But you must come to us. Come out of the shadows. Come and talk to us. It's so cold around me.
Is it?
Oh,
He's here.
God, yeah.
He's here. He's in here.
Who are you?
There's a male spirit person here. And he is in that room.
Arreton Manor is an ancient home on the Isle of Wight, and it's providing an awful lot of evidential interest for the Most Haunted crew. There had already been several incidents of apparent poltergeist activity, and now in the attic, something seemed to have taken hold of Derek.
Derek?
Oh, shit, we've got the stairs.
Derek? Okay, mate. Come back. Come on. Who are you? Are you the spirit we were speaking?
I'm Edward!
Edward, hello, Edward. Are you Edward Bryan?
Correct! Correct!
Yeah. Edward, can you converse with us? Can you talk to us?
Yes, I can! Yes, I can!
We want to understand why you're still here.
I want to be here! I want to be here.
That's fine. That's
What?
fine.
What?
You don't mind us
What?
being here, do you?
Where's that woman? Where's the woman?
Who's that, Abe?
Where's the woman?
I'm here!
Good lady. Good lady. Good lady. Good lady.
What did you die, Edward?
Dead, dead, dead. Keep on telling me dead, dead. Everyone keeps on telling me dead. He should have protected me. He promised me he would. Yes. Yes, I will see him. I will see him.
Edward, did they take you away from your house?
Charlie boy. Charlie boy. Where are you? Where are you?
Who was Charlie Boy, Edward?
Charles the First.
No, what year was he here?
Gosh.
You all right, Derek? 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 It's Ivy. Derek? Derek? You all right? You okay? You all right? Just lie there for a minute. Just lie there.
It seemed that Derek had once again encountered Edward Bryan, a man he earlier claimed had been ambushed and murdered. Following such a strong reaction in the attic, Carl and Stuart later decided somewhat bravely to hold a final vigil there. Meanwhile, David felt that it was a good time to hold a second séance in the dining room.
Are we in touch with a member of the Lee family? Is your surname Lee?
No.
No.
Ask if it's
Someone from the Bennett family? Is your name Bennett? Are you a Benedictine monk that dwelt here?
I knew it.
I knew it was the monks.
I knew it.
Yeah, you're a Benedictine monk.
Can I ask you, do you still wander here? Are you still part of the fabric of this building? Do you still wander here?
Can ask him, can he knock on the table?
Can you knock on this table? Make a noise in the room?
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
David, is there anything by me? I just get this overwhelming feeling that there's something behind me, and I'm sure I could feel something tugging at a minute ago at my jumper.
Was it below you? Was it pulling down on your jumper?
I felt there was someone stood there.
Have you got him?
Someone stood there, and then when I was filming you, I could feel the back of my jumper like going.
Right. It seems to me that that's what Annabelle's trick is. Annabelle, was that you playing with Ian? Oh, hello.
Oh my God.
Come see Ian.
She likes you, Ian.
It actually looks like it's moving.
You're kidding.
No.
Get the camera around there. Can you see it?
Can you
Where?
keep doing it?
On
The
his
bottom right there. Here.
It's difficult to tell.
Annabelle, do it again for us. There's a good girl. This is really
There,
good
can
fun.
you do it now?
She's doing it again.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Oh,
Annabelle.
Annabelle, you're brilliant.
Can you see it?
It's very difficult to tell.
That was fascinating. What did you think to that, everybody?
I'm not sure what to think, to be honest. I need to see more. I want something else to happen.
What do you think, Ian?
It was a totally bizarre experience because I was just stood here talking to David and I could feel the jumper going. That's why I had to ask David if it wasn't just me imagining anything. I could actually feel it. But I also haven't been stood here because I keep thinking that there's something over here in this corner and I'm not having my back to it, and I occasionally get the odd, and I wasn't sure if it was just because John's been walking around doing the sound and I wasn't sure if it's John or, but I always get the feeling it was something over here.
Is there anybody in this room with us now that wishes to communicate with us? We're not here to harm you in any way. If you can do something, let us know your presence. Light anomalies, turn a light on. Shut off. Fire, what the f was that?
What was it? What?
I don't know yet. The camera's going in and out of focus here. Just hang on.
That came from that room. That came from the room. We're both pointing the same direction.
Oh, shit!
You're right.
Yeah, I've just tripped up on something.
That's what
Get your
makes
camera
noise.
down there, Carl.
That's what made the noise.
Get your camera down.
It's the
What is
sofa.
it?
It's the sofa. The sofa's come apart.
Oh, it's on one of them tie-back things, isn't it? Hey?
Where's the knob? There's no knob. I can't put it back. Look, there's a hole there.
I've got it. How the hell has that come down? Has that just come away, or?
I thought you were messing around when you hit the floor.
No.
No, I mean I didn't mean it.
No, I know. I've just tripped up over it. I didn't see it. That's all. Me and Carl have just left that room over there. We've just been walking through. All of a sudden, we've heard a bang. No, we wasn't sure where it had come from. We thought it came from this room because, well, this happened this end next to the room. Literally, what, I don't know, 8 feet away from the room, isn't it? Something like that. No more. I've come back to walk into the room and I've tripped up. What the hell was that?
What was that? That was on the stairs. What was that?
Oh, Carl, I'm getting that, mate. I'll tell you.
Don't. I don't even want to.
Mate, I don't want to stay in here any longer. I just want to go to walk into the room and I've tripped up. To walk into the room and I've tripped up. Holy moly.
What made that noise?
There's no one else down there, is there?
No.
Call out, ask if there's anyone down there now.
Is anyone down here? I've got a torch, a bit of a torch in my pocket. I'm sorry, Stu. I'm gonna have to turn it on. Well, it's only my phone, but I think it's got. Oh.
What is it, mate? What is it?
I've got it.
Where?
There. I've got it somewhere.
Holy shit!
That's the
knob off there.
So where do we begin? Several extremes of poltergeist activity in various areas of the house and on more than one occasion. This is a building that certainly seemed to live up to its own hype. Locked-off cameras and Louis's other additional experiments may not have added to the many reported and recorded incidents, but Arreton Manor had certainly provided a lot of debate both on set and even now after examining the recorded phenomena.
All in all, it's been an extremely good 24 hours. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the house so much. It is such a fantastic place. And the amazing thing is that very early on, we were doing quite an early nighttime walk around with David Wells. And then lo and behold, we have a book thrown across the floor. Now, I know for a fact that there were 3 books that were on the windowsill. I'd looked at them before we'd started doing the walk round. I know they were there. And I have no explanation for how one of those books flew onto the floor.
At one point during the investigation, the team left a room and a plate appeared to fall of its own accord from the table. Now, there are a number of explanations from this. One of them is to do with vibration. We're not sure if merely the presence of a number of people in the room and standing on particular floorboards would actually cause the plate to fall. Additionally, we don't actually know if anybody in the team accidentally may have knocked a carpet or knocked another piece of furniture which could have caused the plate to fall off. So unfortunately, it's not evidential in this particular circumstance. All in all, Arreton Manor was a very, very interesting investigation for the Most Haunted team. However, in terms of paranormal evidence, I'm very, very sceptical, and I would say the actual investigation did not reveal anything of paranormal origin.
An island that claims to be the most haunted on Earth. And for this ghost hunting team, it had proved to be another 24 hours of mystery and inexplicable activity. Until next time, sleep tight.
The Most Haunted CD is now available. To order your copy, log on to www.livingtv.co.uk/shop.
Now all the spooky extra behind-the-scenes footage from this Most Haunted follows. Most Haunted Extra coming up next. Stay tuned.